Good afternoon, I guess, evening to my guests. Welcome back to 22 Panels. My guests tonight are Chrissy Williams and Lauren Knight of the wonderful comic Golden Rage. How are you guys doing today?
Good, thank you. Very good. It's been very warm here, which is unusual for Britain. It's normally wet, and
Uh,
but so yeah, we're all well, I'm wearing no sleeves on my shirt.
It's actually kind of cold in Scotland today, so I'm wearing layers.
it's 95 for me outside of Chicago. So I think we went past warm and into hot and sweaty.
Mm.
Well, I can highly recommend not wearing any sleeves.
Yes.
Look at me.
Yeah. So we're on the second volume of Golden Rage, which it feels like it was planned from the get-go, or did you just know that you were going to by the end of the first volume? Because they play right together.
I well, at first we only ever planned to definitely do one volume, but the
Right.
ending of the first volume was very deliberately left in a way that it could be picked up again.
Okay.
I didn't want like a Hamlet style, everybody's dead and there's no kind of
That's it. It's done. It's over. Goodbye.
I thought that was how all Brits wrote.
Yeah, no. So what I would say is I definitely had ideas story wise for what future series could be,
Yeah.
but we've had a bit of a gap in between, and partly that is due to me having had a tiny child in the meantime. So I had a
So there was some motivation for the twist in volume two.
well, yeah. I mean, people ask where you get your ideas from, and I just looked down and thought, this kid, great, no problem. No, I think in terms of the way that we sort of map a bit of Golden Girls and a bit of Battle Royale into the whole conception of the series, I always loved that episode of Golden Girls where um, Blanche thinks she's pregnant. Blanche thinks she's pregnant, and so they're all like, "Oh, we can't have a baby. No, we're too old." And then suddenly go, "No, we're not. That would be great. We can. There's four of us. We could all split the responsibilities. We could do this. We could do that." It's such a great episode, and fundamentally still just engaging with like issues of fertility and age and motherhood and womanhood and sisterhood and all of that stuff, but in a really entertaining way. And so I wanted to bring some of that into this. So it's in no way like an autobiographical thing, which maybe you can tell because of the stabbings and the machetes.
Well, I mean, I don't know you that well. I mean, maybe stabbings and machetes is your thing.
If I can, as I said earlier, I've just worked up to taking the sleeves off my shirt. So we're
The
not a
slippery slope.
yeah. It's for one day sleeveless shirts, and the next day machetes to the death.
I mean, that seems like the logical progression, doesn't it?
They always told me that
Poetry, comics, sleeveless shirts, machetes. I
Maybe
mean,
tattoos next.
co that comes after the machetes.
I don't know.
I think in my mother's eyes, tattoos definitely come at the end, like literally dead body kind of territory. No tattoos. Uh, yeah, yeah.
So I love the concept, the Golden Girls meet Battle Royale. I grew up on the Golden Girls because my grandmother loved them. I married a woman who loves Golden Girls, so I've gotten plenty more Golden Girls. Um, and who doesn't like a Battle Royale? As long as it's happening like in comics, not
Mm.
like
Yeah.
in front of us. For that matter, I even like it better in comics than in like movies, because in movies, like I can't set it down and let it sit for a minute if it's getting too intense. Comics
Mm.
is like today, I read like two issues. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Thank you for that, Lauren. You know, that's on you. You add that extra depth to the pace and the action that makes me go, okay, need
Well,
to
that's
breathe
good
for
to
a minute.
hear.
So like, what was? I mean, I worked dementia care, so
Mhm.
I could actually picture the battle royale of 80 somethings really, really well.
Well,
Um,
I'm afraid to ask, but
the absolute worst punch I ever got was from a like 68 pound, 98-year-old woman. And
wow.
it was like a reflexive thing as I was helping her get ready for bed.
Yeah.
She didn't even do it on purpose, but she was all
Yeah.
like this anyway, and it was like boom, boom. And I was like, oh, oh.
yeah. Oh boy. So something that we kind of we steer towards a little bit in this series is the reality of when they get hurt, when
Mm.
Yeah.
physically their bodies are in decline. Well, I mean, everybody's bodies are in decline at this point.
From like 28 on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We sort of we explore that a little bit. But the thing that I would love, the story that I would love to do in Golden Rage is the story of what it's like living with the dead women. So the dead women being this group of women that literally come to collect the bodies and care for the dead. But there's also this hanging implication in this series that when you get too sick, you get shipped off to them and you kind of have to
Right.
just stay out there until you literally die. I
Right.
I would love to tell that story, but there's not current, well, in this arc there was no space to tell that, but
Next arc, maybe a one shot. I mean, the deeper you
Yeah,
get, the
man.
more crazy things you can do.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
the advantage of sticking with characters for a while, letting them breathe. Um, yeah, so I think I interrupted you. How did you decide though that we were going to have all of the old? I mean, unfortunately, I think we can all guess how we decided the old ladies were going to be put on the island. There have been way too many idiot male politicians that have not quite said that out loud, but definitely made the implication that like, I mean, there's a certain vice president that like actually campaigned on the idea that the best use of grandparents was childcare. So I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys caught that on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah, it's weird that where the idea originally sprang from was when I went to see the first Mad Max um
Okay.
reboot, and just when we saw the women in the desert, the older women in the desert, just like living their life, giving no shits and being generally amazing, and just to see all of them on screen en masse was, I found, really affecting because we really don't get to see that
No.
often, if ever. Um, and that's where the idea came from. I did not realize it was an idea that was going to become more topical over the time it would take
Mm.
us to make the comic, have the comic come out, and now the gap, and now more Trump, and more and more.
Yeah, that is kind of the problem with dystopia right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, no, I mean at least it's dystopic and funny. I'm sorry, I just went to a dark place in my head. So we're trying to be funny here and have fun.
No, but that's, I mean, you're exactly right though. It's really difficult, and these are all in this, I mean, the same way the Golden Girls was, every single one of
Right.
those episodes tackles something truly remarkable, especially for the period when the Golden Girls was coming
Oh
out.
yeah.
Um, but now we're here. I think though it just makes me even more determined to, although the Golden Rage girls are living in a dystopia, we don't want to show that dystopia that they came from. I don't need to see old women being shipped onto boats and thrown out and beaten. Like, I don't need to see any of that. What
Right.
we are interested in is the end result. And the end result just so happens to be a community of women figuring their own shit out without anyone else there, without any men there, without any kind of other interference. Also, spoilers without supplies and
Yeah,
but
and with knives and machetes.
yeah, well, what you lose in some, you
A
make
bit of
up for
Lord
it.
of the Flies.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the brutal lines I was mentioning to Lauren right before you got here that I didn't quite finish my reread today. I started this morning at issue 1 of the first series, and I'm like 8 pages from the end of issue 3. But I read that last week, 2 weeks ago, so I mean it's fresh. But one of the lines that hit me was when they were throwing Rosie out and like, "You are helping us. One less mouth to feed." I'm like, "Oh, really? Really?"
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's nice to have, well, and okay, nice is definitely the wrong word, but I think it's good to have like a varied cast. It can't just be everybody's cutesy grandmas baking apple
Yeah.
pies and stroking cats or whatever. Some of them can be, sure. Who doesn't like cats?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you've got to have all those horrible, like terrible mother-daughter relationships, terrible
Oh yeah.
people exist everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, and just confuse people, and that's the other thing that I like is that like even the most terrible characters that you've made, you can see that they're not entirely terrible. They're just trying to. Yes, Eddie always likes to join. He's gonna try to eat the microphone in a second.
Because you mentioned
Um,
cats, Chrissy.
yeah. No, I have 4 cats. He's the only one that ever joins the podcast. Yeah. Okay. Um, but like I caught the part in the most recent issue. They're talking and Red is I never got to choose to have kids and her mom is I didn't get to have the choice whether or not to have kids and that just gives you that momentary, oh wait, there's so much more going on here than this isn't just the mom that didn't do well. This is the mom that's got her own stuff.
yeah. There's a lot of, I think that's one of the for me the most interesting things about having like a group cast is you don't really just have that one viewpoint character, that one protagonist. We sort of
Right.
started there in volume 1 as a way into the story, but really it's about trying to explore all the different layers of those relationships.
Yeah.
Um,
I really loved that the first 4 issues were from different viewpoints. Was that did that come about organically? Was that something that I mean, where in the process did you go? I'm gonna give each one of these characters an issue. I mean, because we got to discover the island as we also got like this deeper connection to each character.
yeah,
You
I mean
know.
that was something that I right from the beginning I wanted, and I think that comes really strongly from having the Golden Girls in my head at the beginning. Is that they, each and every one of those has their own stories, as their own protagonist. Like there's something a bit different going on between Dorothy and daughter, but basically everybody's story is as interesting and valid as everybody else's, and the trick is just trying to make the story work while you're sort of juggling all those different things. But this is where I think what Lauren does is amazing, because she just really pulls us into the emotion of the characters. I think Lauren, I always say this, but like I think one of your real strengths is just the emotion and the expression and the gesture of the characters, just that there's a real emotional realism to them. That I think really helps draw that out. I need to stop saying the word really. I think I said it 3 times.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say I mean a lot, so we all have our things. I see 2 cats behind you. That's adorable.
They're multiplying.
Oh yeah,
The
mine
cats
too.
are.
Do Do you,
So,
Lauren, I've never asked you this, but do you have like do you have a favorite character that you draw, or like a favorite moment, or do they all kind of take?
I think in volume 2 it was definitely the witch. It was the most fun to draw, just because I just fully leaned into her goblin-esque expressions. Like a face like plasticine. It was great.
Oh,
so what kind of scripts does Chrissy give you, Lauren? Does she give you very detailed breakdown scripts, or does she
Um,
give you dialogue and you get to pick out a lot, or something in between?
Not overly detailed, because I think if they were overly detailed, I get bogged down in it. Sometimes if a page definitely needs a certain thing, it can be more detailed. But it's sort of like midway between free range sort of thing for the artist and
Yeah.
please add this in.
So what's your challenge slash, if it's different, what's your favorite thing about taking the scripts and figuring them out? I mean, because your layouts
Oh,
are outstanding. Um,
I don't know. I think every time I do any page is just a battle of wills between me and the page, really. I'm like, it's the same as any time I start drawing anything. It's like I'm learning how to draw every time I do it. It's so annoying. But it's just, I have to keep trying and finish it. I can't let it win.
you're a complete professional. You shouldn't admit that on the air. It comes to you easy.
It's easy. 10 pages a
No
day.
problem. You're so masterful, they should pay you better.
It's comics. Come on.
I know. This is why it needs to be said out loud by somebody other than the creator. It's comics.
I think
Um,
I'm being spoiled by Golden Rage from going from working directly with Chrissy to then working for publishers. It's like, oh, how long do I have to wait to be paid for this thing I finished 3 months ago?
uh, there are a handful of publishers that have realized that paying on time means that they get better work, but it does not seem to be the industry like norm, and that is very sad.
No, I think it would be better if I'm just going to go on a rant now.
I'll let
If
you.
you were able to submit the invoice before you've even started the work, so you're not waiting an
Yeah,
additional month to actually get paid when you've already spent a month drawing.
that makes
That's what
sense to
I
me.
think.
I do know there's one publisher, and like I always am careful to mention things like this on the air, so we won't name the publisher, but I'll tell you off air if you want. That like I was talking to a friend of mine because seemed like for a while, every time Tyler's my co-host who has a 4-year-old, or I guess she's 6 now. We've been at this for a while. She's 6 now, has a 6-year-old, so he doesn't make as many of the interviews. He's at all the weekly episodes and does all the audio editing, that sort of thing. But he has father duties. I have grandfather duties. Grandfather duties are way less work and way more fun. Um, but we had like 3 times in a row where we got like really into a publisher that then went bankrupt, and or word got out that they weren't paying anybody, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So when we started having yet another publisher, like seemed like every week there were 3 new books that we loved from them. It's like, okay, C2E2's around the corner. I need to go to my friends that work for this publisher and talk to them. And I was talking to one of them, and the first thing he said was, "No, it's great. They do direct deposit." And I'm like, "They what?" He's like, "Yeah, they do direct deposit." I'm like, "So they've caught up to the real world?" He's like, "No, it's even better. Wednesdays become my most productive day because if I get it in by midnight on Wednesday, it'll be deposited on Thursday."
That's pretty
wow.
good.
I'm like, this is unreal and good to hear. So like, I mean, even business people, and thankfully there are enough comics people who are business people. Business people are always looking for um unidentified margins, the thing that they can
Mm.
do better that nobody else has figured out. So like if paying on time, if you don't have to pay better, just paying on time can get you better artists, somebody's going to figure out, oh, it makes a lot of sense to pay on time because then we get our pick.
It would be so wonderful if that started to catch on. Oh my goodness.
Well, and then the next thing would be somebody would have to pay better because everybody was paying on time. It was no longer the market inefficiency.
But then you'd be paid in advance, and
I know. That would
before you
be
even had the idea.
insane.
Imagine the possibilities.
You mean like the book industry? It's almost like somebody's done this before.
I know. Oh gosh. But then I look at the book, and my background is in trade book publishing,
Right.
and I mean years and years ago now. But I look at that and also see how the same kind of work for hire
Absolutely.
/ advanced faculties and how few. Oh, it's just all depressing.
I mean, really, what it comes down to is the set of skills necessary to make massive amounts of money through capitalism. In other words, make money through money rather than through work are not actually commonly also in people who like to make things.
Mm.
So throughout history, the people who like to make things can I hate to say exploited, but yes, can be exploited. Sometimes they get good patrons. That was how it worked for like Michelangelo and Leonardo, so we're gonna make you feel like you're rich and you do stuff for us.
Yeah. I mean,
And we take all the credit.
my poetry background, a lot of old dead poets survived off,
Right.
the kindness of asshole benefactors who
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're lucky, it gets to be a breakfast at Tiffany's or a producers thing where they're kept.
Yeah.
Well, lucky if they're men, kept men. That's not lucky for the. That's I suddenly realized we're talking about Golden Rage here. Whoa. Sorry. Every woman should be issued a machete at birth. I think that's the that's the moral of Golden Rage.
That's a good cover idea for the trade. Just baby.
We've got a baby
screaming out with a machete.
Yeah.
I want my 0.01% cut for
I'll
the
give you
idea.
exposure.
That works. That works. I'll take the exposure. God knows I don't promote myself at all.
I love, as a sidebar though, Lauren, the covers that you've done for this series, I think
they've been
so
outstanding.
Cool. Like, there's the Godfather homage thing, which is so good. There's the one that just looks like a sort of demented Christmas card with like the mother and babe in arms, but like grumpy baby with
the grumpiest
axe,
baby.
isn't it? Like, yeah, no, it's good. There's really good fun.
Yeah, I had lots of fun with the covers this run.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you had pretty interesting covers last run too. So I mean,
yes. But this one I felt it stepped up a level.
I mean, to be honest, the cover of issue 1. I mean, I was sold by Golden Girls meets I think the first I read of it was Golden Girls meets Lord of the Flies, and I went sold. But I know a lot of people who were sold by the cover to issue 1. They looked at it and went, I don't even know what this is, but does that say grandma?
Yeah.
I love that cover so much. Like everything is it's just neatly
Yeah.
sort of does everything, and also sets what I love the colors that you picked for it, Lauren, because it just sets the colors themselves set this tone where it's violent, but it's also kind of, there's a softness to it. There's like,
Yeah.
it's not just hard. There's something
Yeah.
really interesting. And
Well, like out of the corner of your eye, it's like you catch the background reds and pinks, and it's almost, but then you look at it more carefully, and it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Um, yeah. Actually, as I'm formulating the next question, I'll say that the other cool thing that happened that I always associate with your comic, I think it was the month after issue one came out, was C2E2 that year, and 8 blocks away, the first Golden Girls convention in Chicago.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And like when they got scheduled, I'm like, God, because the Golden Girls thing actually like started getting plugged way late. It was one of those things that wasn't like you didn't know about it a year in advance. You knew about it like a month in advance. And I'm like, oh, I don't have email addresses for these people, but they should be booking their con trip because they could go back and forth.
oh no, oh, that's
That would've been
amazing. I wish
cool.
I'd known that.
Chicago had a Golden Girls convention and a comic convention going on at the same time while Golden Rage was on the shelves. I wanted to buy a stack of them and just like go walking around the Golden Girls convention, but I couldn't afford to go to both.
Yeah. Oh, next
but
time.
I did wind up, I think, plugging both on 22 panels because it's like, if you're a Golden Girls fan, come get your Golden Rage and go to the Golden Girls conference.
Oh, thank you.
And maybe it'll happen again because I think they've had at least one more in Chicago since then. It's like the cult mini con that becomes bigger every year type thing.
Great, amazing.
Golden Girls cosplay and yeah.
That's very cool.
My wife talks about going every year but hasn't gone, so I've only heard about it through her managing to find the Instagram pictures or whatnot. Look at this! But yeah, they've managed to make a complete con out of a series that's been off the air for what, 30 years now?
Yes, at least 40 years. Oh my God.
No, I think it started like 40 years ago.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I think it started in my lifetime and it went out during my lifetime. So I'm only 45. So like if I remember the beginning, it can't be much.
Yeah.
Maybe 42 years ago.
But I remember watching that on TV and just thinking how crazy it was that there was a show about these really, 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 really old women, and like the characters were in their 50s. Like,
yeah, they're not even that old.
Yeah.
Well, what I really
Getty.
loved was Sophia was the youngest.
She was she was only 2 years different to oh my God, my brain.
B. Arthur.
B. Arthur, thank you.
Yeah.
This is the evening settling into my brain, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's absolutely mad, isn't it? If you look at I mean, that's one thing that has changed is if you look at social media representations of women in their 50s now, they do not look like the Golden Girls look.
Well, I think they had to make them up some because they were trying to make them be
less
60s at least, because they were supposed to all be retired. Yeah.
I think the difference between then and now is that maybe we are shown different pictures, but actually the pressure is just heaped on twice as much to try and maintain the fiction
Oh God, yes.
youthfulness. And I don't know that it's just because we're not being, shown women in their 50s as having white hair and, the kind of net bags full of vegetables and fruit that seems to be like a sort of standard thing. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily better, more just that everyone's talking about Botox and hummus a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think also that the change in hairstyles is that you don't go for the perm. It's more likely to be color your hair and do something to try to make it look younger rather than, I don't know. I'm not good at that sort of thing. I barely notice. That's not my forte. But I did come up with another question. And we're going to start with Lauren this time because I feel like I've either aimed everything at Chrissy, or because she's the wordsmith, she's just spoken more. A little bit of each. It's the question I like to ask everybody. It's kind of twofold. The first is why comics, but the second is kind of give me your comics biography, and by that like I don't mean your bibliography. I mean like what comics do you remember reading that made you go, I want to do this? What comics do you go back to? What things still blow your mind? Whatever.
Well, comics, I went to university to do animation and I did 2D animation there. And the part I enjoyed most was storyboarding. So I started looking into how can I lean more into this. And I want to tell my own stories as well, but I wasn't very good at animating. So
Okay.
I didn't have the patience to sit there all day drawing individual frames sort of thing. So I got into comics my friend was into it first. I actually was in the year above her at university, and just the year below they got the very first comic course. So I missed out on a whole year, but through osmosis I sort of latched onto what she was doing and then just got into it myself as well. Yeah. I think it's not a huge
And
leap to go from storyboarding to comics. So
no, I know many people who do both or who started in comics and found more of a career in storyboarding. Um, that sort of thing.
as
In
for
fact, I think some people make more money in storyboarding than they make in comics.
yeah.
So I mean,
So
the
now I'm
joke
like
could
trying to
be
get
that you
back into
decided you wanted to
animation.
make less money. But then you said you wanted to tell your own stories, and as a
Yes.
storyboard artist, you often don't get to do that.
No,
So,
so I'm just cursed to be poor. Maybe tell my own story eventually.
right.
As for
Um,
reading comics, I didn't really have any access to comics as a kid. We didn't have a comic store anywhere near us. The closest I probably had was the Dandy and the Beano stuff in the dentist office. That's the closest stuff I had growing up, in terms of comics like
okay.
Desperate Dan. I did go on to work for DC Thompson for a while. Uh, but the less said about that, the better. And then
Okay.
probably in my teens, I started reading more of it. Late teens. How old am I now?
I,
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
mean,
think
I
I even
assumed you were like
started.
20, 22, 26, whatever.
No,
I know.
no. Yeah, I'm 22. No, I started probably the very first one I read was American Vampire. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
It's a
started
good
reading that.
book.
That was because that was a recommendation from my friend Claire. So I just sort of went from there. And then I picked up Saga. And then I went and started picking up all my own stuff, like Black Widow. But it was always based on the artist. So I wasn't really looking at writers or what they were actually doing. It was sort of just looking at the
Well,
picture.
you mentioned some pretty good artists there, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Albuquerque, Fiona Staples is one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
At the
And
moment,
there's
I just keep looking at. I have a stack of comics that I keep on my desk when I'm working on projects because it's just stuff that I'll look at to see how is this person handled doing this sort of thing, blah blah blah. Not ripping them off, but I'm just trying to figure out how
No, of course not.
you show movement in static pictures and stuff like that. So I have like I've got Alex Toth here, and I've got Dylan Snook's Dead by Daylight, which is really good. His art's amazing, and I've got some I Hate This Place. I don't know if you've read that.
I have. In
I
fact,
love Akim's art too.
I had Kyle on the show to pitch that book, and got my stickers in the mail from him today from his Patreon sticker club.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, I've got all that, and I've got Claire Rose stuff as well because I have to read all of her stuff, or the friendship is over.
also does good stuff. So how about you, Chrissy? What's your pathway into comics, particularly because you were in the I almost said real publishing world, and I hate saying that because that's like calling them real books, and that's also bullshit. Because I mean, this is the entire reason I have this podcast is like get frustrated that people don't think of comics as a valuable medium. But you come from the prose and poetry world, and have migrated into editing and then writing comics. Take me on the path.
God, I mean, with poetry and comics, if comics is still prone to headlines that are like bam pow, comics are not just for kids, woohoo, poetry gets the opposite end. It gets given, I think, too much reverence, too much automatic poetry. Like poetry. Yeah, it's the whole high low is just such nonsense. It's all art, and there's so much good and bad within every medium anyway. So how did I so I was working book publishing as an editor, and then in my 20s pretty much everyone I knew who was writing creatively would ask me to either proofread or copy edit their stuff on the side, because I was the only one that they knew who worked like in that area. And then it's Kieran. So Kieran Gillen is my husband. Kieran.
I knew
you
that.
Have to say it like that.
I didn't want to make it like, oh yeah, we got Kieran's wife on this show.
No, I have to say it exactly like that. It's not. But he was working on some indie stuff, and he got me to proofread some of his things, some of his scripts early on. And then that gradually turned into, I'm going to edit that script. Oh, actually, I need to proofread the lettering as well. Oh, now I see what the artist has done and how that's changed. Oh, that's interesting. So they did that. Oh, I said on that. Yes. We're just losing because the art does it. That is very, very interesting. And that just kind of carried on the whole time. I've been editing all of Kieran's indie stuff up until the last 2 years, because of the aforementioned maternity leave.
You get to take maternity leave when you work at home for your husband?
Well,
what a great guy.
No. So Golden Rage was coming out. Golden Rage was coming out while.
Oh, now it makes even more sense. You showed him the machete.
Well, I think so I edited all through Wicked and Divine and all through the first series of Die, and I've done some other bits as well. Like I edited Super Freaks for Elsa Charretier, and by the time we got to I had that idea for Golden Rage, I just knew that I wanted to try and write a comic myself. I'd seen so much of the sausage making end. I wanted to write my own sausage. That's the opposite of what we're doing with no sausage.
No sausage included.
But yeah, and because my background
is vegan comic.
Yeah. But yeah, because my creative background, if book editing was for day job work, my creative background has always been writing poetry. So I definitely come from a words place. And I feel like I've
Right.
learned what comics can do just through physically having to go through and see, like, just see the machinations of how the script turns into the page bit by bit, and just learning it all. And then, I mean, gosh, looking at the longest projects, like Wicked and Divine, the artist Jamie McKelvey, on Die, the artist Stephanie Hans, and they are both just so sublimely different in how they approach the page, how they approach their process, even just like the normal routine of how work gets done. And I think that's something that's really, really been instructive as well, is just seeing how differently everyone gets to make up their own
Right.
way of doing things.
Right.
I remember when Golden Ranger was going to come out, when I finally, the first script, I think, Lauren, this is probably when you had just started drawing it. I had a real kind of imposter syndrome, paranoia, like, oh, everyone's going to think that Kieran's written it. Oh, everyone's going to think it's just or whatever. And then I remember seeing the pages come
Okay,
back.
don't tell Kieran I
And-
said this because
Uh-huh.
I would like to talk to him someday, but I knew that Kieran hadn't written it because it's better.
Yes. Machetes for everyone. But no, but it's there is of, that whole dynamic. But I once the comic did come back drawn and lettered, and I could see it. I could just see how the words on the page were definitely my own, like, ridiculous, idiosyncratic, Golden Girls, Murder She Wrote, kind of Agatha Christie all sort of thrown into stuff, Battle Royale. But then what Lauren had done was just, writers like to think they write the comic in a way that the outside world thinks they understand what the word writing means. The word writing in comics really doesn't apply in the same way. Like, what Lauren does is
Absolutely right.
authors the thing. Like, there is no comic
Right.
without Lauren actually making it and lifting the words off the page and, like, playing the orchestral score of the script if we want to be fancy. But
Well, and honestly, we got to give Becca Carey some major props too. The lettering in this comic is outstanding, particularly during places where the action is supposed to interrupt the speech, or the thoughts are supposed to, knowing when to throw a word balloon behind a sword is not, or I guess it was an axe behind an axe, is not actually something that, like, comes naturally to everybody.
yeah.
So big props to Becca.
Yeah, and we should say the Eisner Award nominated Becca Carey.
Becca Carey, that's right.
But yeah, what Becca
Right.
does is absolutely amazing, and none of that is coming from us, like, suggesting or asking. Literally, there'll be a couple of times where I'm like, oh, can we just make sure that that's somewhere? But it's so incredibly rare that I would even do that. We trust her so much, and she just does amazing stuff. She makes it look really seamless, and as you said, it just weaves in really well. And of course, I mean, Sophie as well. Lauren, do you want to talk about how much we love Sophie Dodgson?
Oh, I love Sophie. I love her. I mean, because if I have a page, there's been a couple of them where I'm like, this looks like it's just lacking in something, and then it goes off to Sophie, and then it comes back, and I'm like, oh, it's fine now, it's perfect.
It's not lacking anymore.
No, she finishes it off, or I don't know, she adds in that thing that I'm just like, this is boring. I've not done anything with this page, and then Sophie goes away and fixes it.
I mean, colorists are I need to have more colorists on the show. So far, I haven't had any solo. I've only had them in groups. But I think a lot of colorists love to get that page that's missing something, because it's when they get the opportunity to really
Yeah.
like dig in. Yeah.
I hope that's how it's received and not, oh God, we need to do something with this.
I mean, I guess it depends on, because particularly with colorists and letterers, they're also paid the least, so they have the tightest schedules for, I need to get this done so that I can get on to the next book, because, like, every letterer I talk to, to make the ends meet, they're lettering a book a day. You know,
Yeah.
um, and like what they hate about script changes is like, no, it's not a huge thing to go in to go back and do it, but it's like an hour of my time, and I schedule like a month out. It's an hour of my time that I have to fit in somewhere else. So get
Yeah.
your script right the first time. Your letters will like you if you get your script right the first time. I have heard people say off the record that there shouldn't be any the phrase lettering pass should not exist. Your script should be the way you want it to be, and when they put it in, it should be done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see a really, really good argument for that, especially
Right?
because as long as you're doing it and you can see you're doing your lettering script against actual inks and ideally the actual
Right.
inks as well, you
Mm,
should be able to
Right.
see everything that's there. So then when you're
Right.
going back, you're either just fixing like a literal mistakes to some
Right.
actual just mistake. But yeah,
Right.
I think it's one of those things that again, I think
The rewriting the dialogue at that point is like really not fair to the letterer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, some writers. I mean, I've seen two things happen among the people who know that it's going to happen from time to time. I know a handful of writers who are their own letterers because that's the way that they get around it. I'm not sticking it on somebody else. I'm the letterer. And then I know a couple of writers that they just like they work exclusively with one letterer, and therefore
mm.
they get to know each other. It's more likely that the letterer will call up and say, "Hey, before I do this page, you want to take a look at it?"
There's
Um,
definitely every team works so differently, and I
yeah,
think where the comic will get made in the least stressful way for everyone is if everyone has realistic and like understandings of what each other's
hmm
processes actually are, how long it takes to do stuff, uh, when things need to be handed in, all that stuff. I have to say, and this is a terrible, I shouldn't, we haven't even finished, we're just wrapping up production on the final issue of this series. So, and not saying anything, but we've had, uh, we haven't had any sign-offs that are like, oh God, 3 a.m. changes to something, something, whatever.
right.
Like it's all very calm and organized,
Well,
and
that probably
everyone feels
actually
like they're
has a
everyone feels sorry.
decent, yeah, and that probably has a lot to do with your editorial background. I mean, in comics, the editor, I mean, I don't know as much about prose editing, but prose editing seems to be a little bit more cheerleading, a little bit more proofreading, and a little bit more lots of stuff at once. Whereas the comics editor, more times than not, is the one that keeps track of everybody. But like Shelley Bond has become a regular. I saw that you worked on her inside stories.
The
Um,
thing, yeah.
you know, and like first thing she does is like she finds out how her people work. I mean, she told a story at CXC last year about working with an artist, and when she said that she was bringing on a book, everybody around her was like, "What are you doing? He's notoriously late. You're gonna throw everything off. Blah blah blah." And she's just like, "No, no." And she went to him, and she's like, "How long is it going to take you to do these scripts?" It's like, "I'll get them done." No, 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 no. Don't tell me what I want to hear. How long is it going to take you to do these scripts the way that you will be happy with them? He's like, 6 or 7 weeks. She's like, okay. So I need fill-in issues every 3 to 4 issues. I'm going to do a couple fill-ins to get you ahead. And then we're going to have you do 3 issues at a time, and I'm going to throw another fill-in in. She went to the writer and he's like, we need one shots at these places to give your artist. And this way we still come out monthly, but we also get this amazing art. that just can't be produced in the time allotted if we're not planning around it. Yeah.
I mean, we're on we have I mean, as Image, I think, try to get everyone to do now is we have three issues in the can before they'll even solicit the first one,
Okay.
to make sure that we have made it and that we're making it.
No, that's wise.
But we would never be able to do
Hard
it.
without advances, but wise.
We would never be able to do a monthly schedule. Like, that seems like one of the
No.
greatest fallacies for comics, isn't it? Just that a monthly schedule where you're actually all drawing and living and trying to not get RSI and survive is crazy. It's crazy.
There aren't many people who can, particularly among the artists, there aren't many people who can actually pull it off, particularly given the different level of detail now expected. You know.
I couldn't do it. I definitely couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I was
yeah.
I'm dead. Sorry.
No. Well, I mean, it requires both. I mean, it's one thing to be fast drawing it, but you got to like figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the name of this show comes from Wally Wood's hack, the 22 panels that always work. And like, particularly with like indie comics, the comic artists that are perfectionists, they'll sometimes make fun of it. You mean the 22 panels that always suck? And I'm like, no, he didn't say use only these 22 panels. It's you're working for money. Look at the script. If something jumps out to you, do that. If it doesn't, look at this sheet, pick a panel, draw it.
Yeah.
Because you can't spend all day figuring out what the page is going to look like. You gotta figure out what the page is going to look like so you can actually make it look like that. But like, that's the part that people reading it and getting upset that it costs $5 now rather than $2 don't get to see. I'm always telling people, don't shut down your Patreons because you didn't put stuff up. Don't underprice your Kickstarters. The people who love your work know the realities.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is where we go back to what I was saying earlier with like the capitalism gene and the I make art gene tend to not pop up in the same people very often. A number of times I've heard creators going, "Oh, I'm so swamped, with life. Mom's got this going on, and my kids this. I gotta turn off my Patreon because I'm not giving them what they deserve." And I'm like, "You've got life going on. Does that mean you need the money more?" Well, yeah. So you're gonna turn off the Patreon. Put up a note saying that life is going on. That people can choose to turn off their payments.
Yeah.
Most of us won't. Most of us won't. We understand that life's going on. I wish comics were just a little bit easier. And that's where we go back to the if they were appreciated a little bit more, you'd see more advances. You'd see more. We believe we can make this money back in 5 years rather than 5 months. I mean, that's the biggest difference between the publishing world and the comics publishing world is that like comics publishing world is like if we don't make the money back this month, then whereas the publishing world, it's all about back catalog. Like they have a much longer thread. But we're going into not fun stuff again. I'm sorry. I'm in. It's been a crazy week in America.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, America affects the rest of the world. So I understand it's been a crazy week in Scotland and Britain too. But like, yeah.
It's a fun time to
Try to
laugh,
have fun.
honestly.
Contemplate the war.
Yeah.
The war, the world.
Yeah.
I really want to try and like just crack a joke or like, hey, let's bring it back around to go. But it's not. It's just
It's
really,
hard. It's
really
hard some
hard
days. It's
to
hard some days.
be alive at the moment.
Actually, that's another thing that I appreciated. You had that scene where like who's the one that lost Mary, the chicken lady.
Lottie.
Lottie just got to cry. And they talked about everybody needs a good cry sometimes. And it's like, yes. Yes. I wish it wasn't daily, but yes.
Well, if you like that, you're gonna love issue 4 of the current series.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I've loved everything. Um, it's so human. Um, both the words and as Chrissy was pointing out earlier, the first thing I look for in great comic art is body language, facial expression. How much do you tell me the story before I even get to the words? Or how much do you deepen the story after I read the words? Because I'm a word guy, so even when I'm trying not to, I tend to read all the words first. Uh, and I do try not to sometimes, because like when I'm reading old comics, the words often suck. I enjoy the comics way more if I look at the art before I start reading, because then I can decide which parts actually require reading.
Mhm. Like,
Uh,
I think something else that was I don't know uh, something else that has influenced me was when I read Sex Criminals and
oh,
just
so
Jesus Christ, that just amazing. Oh yeah, sure, it's high concept, it's plot. It's not. It's just these incredibly tender
yeah.
stories, and it's all woven
Hmm.
together in such an interesting, compelling way.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
where else are you seeing
Do we
those?
get that anymore? Not many other. I mean, comics are really the perfect medium, period, just because there is literally nothing you can't do with them. I have people throw out music and go read Palomino, go read Enter the Blue. You can make the music come off the page. People will say smell, and I'll go read old Mad magazine. Particularly really wretched smells, they made it come off the page at you. Um,
There is
it-
something just fundamental about that whole, like in poetry, where it's about your brain doing the work and filling in the
yeah,
gaps. Like you were
yeah.
saying before, you're not just sort of hostage in the chair, letting it happen to you, unable to sort of pause it while you watch or whatever. Your brain is constantly being asked to fill in the gaps and take the
Or for
lead.
that matter, even in prose, it's very much um, not quite as hostage because it's easier to go back and read a paragraph than rewinding or whatnot. But like, I mean, the example I always use is comics is the only medium that I can do horror. And that's because in movies, it's the director and the editor to decide how long I spend with the parts that I can't handle. And in prose, it's the writer that decides how long I spend with the parts that I can't handle. In comics, I decide the pacing.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I love that.
I decide the pacing. Comics are the only medium where it's the consumer that truly decides the pacing. Am I going to linger on the pictures here? Am I going to read the text and avoid the images as much as possible? Am I going to get all the information I need from the picture and flip the page because I don't even need the text? I know that the guts are flying all over the place and moving on. Got the necessary information. Bad.
The other thing I love about comics, coming from like the poetry background, is the ability to jump from a page full of panels into like a full bleed page or like a
Yeah,
full DPS, and like what impact that has. That
yeah.
weird visual language that you just don't. Yeah, what are you going to do in poetry? Like increase the font? It's not the
Right.
same thing,
I mean,
right?
sometimes you increase the font, sometimes you do weird things shaping the font, but no, it's not. And
It's
I,
it.
I love poetry. I even like I started reading your poetry today. In those moments where I wasn't reading the comic, I was, yeah. I read a lot. Like if I'm not teaching or podcasting, I'm probably reading. Um,
I'm a big fan of poetry, especially where it's a medium that's all about language and that's trying to do fun things with language or do interesting things to if prose can often tell us a compelling story, but still using the conventions of the formula, the conventions of language, the way we understand storytelling, and then those few prose writers that are able to turn language on its head and do something different, and you're like, what is this now? This is
right,
amazing. Fresh prose.
right,
Poetry, like my favorite kind of poetry is the stuff that is implicitly trying to shake us out of our comfort zone and trying to shake us out of the assumption that we know what words mean and we know what language means.
right.
And now more than ever, like just the insidiousness of language that is being used on us all the time. I think, anyway, sorry, small poetry rant.
No, actually, that leads to the question that's been noodling at the back of my head for most of the episode is how does your experience as a poet inform your um comics writing? Because I mean the obvious comparison is that in general, though not automatically, both mediums reward an economy of words, picking the right ones rather than the most ones. um so like how is writing comics like writing a poem?
Um, in terms of trying to use the least number of words, that's like a constant battle for me. But yeah, I think that's really the key of it. And I get Lawrence inks back. One of the things I'm sure other people say this all the time, like what you're trying to do is strip back words, not like, oh, add in more words to fluff out things. It's more like, no, let where Lauren's work is carrying that expression or carrying that, okay, we can use that, we can lose that little balloon there, that's fine. We can do this. That can be a silent panel, that's great. And in those, I think the this maybe sounds a bit wanky, but I think maybe poetry having an emotional honesty to it is valuable. Like the idea of, oh, she just needs to sit and cry. She just needs to sit and cry. And that might not be action comics, but it is definitely like emotional heart action and that's what's needed.
Right.
Um, I think making weird choices instead of expected story arc. Oh, so you must have your B plot coming out in the page 7 that comes of the thing. It's like no. We get to make this up. We get to figure out how to tell this story, and that's better. Oh, there's something else I was going to say about poetry and comics, but it's gone. Gone forever. Ephemeral thoughts, just like yeah, no, it'll come back to me. I'll blurt it out in a second.
Have you read or ever considered making poetry comics?
You fell into my trap. I actually, yeah, like 10 years ago, a cartoonist over here, comics creator Tom Humberstone, and I jointly edited a book called Over the Line, An Introduction to Poetry Comics, which felt like it was really sort of having a moment then. and we looked at a load of work by existing. There's actually a surprising number of people. It's a small number, but it is still a surprising number of people doing poetry comics. And we've actually just got the rights back to that because it went out of print with the small press where we did it in. It was funded by the Arts Council. So we're actually looking for a new publisher right now. I feel like I said that in the same tone as I said husband, but yeah, I'm really interested in poetry comics because it forces comics to stop being narrative, to stop being like propelled forwards by narrative, and forces it to slow down. And it forces poets to think about the page in a completely different way than they are used to thinking about it. And I think such interesting things happen. And again, poetry comics as a genre in itself has so many different ways of approaching it. So many different ways that you can do stuff. That really feels amazingly limitless to me.
No, I've had both Grant Snyder, who literally has his poetry comics up for an Eisner right now. In fact, he was nominated the day after I talked to him, so that was kind of cool. But Matt Madden's been on a couple times recently too, and he'll sometimes use poetry as his constraint. So I'm always fascinated at the way that's used. I'm looking at some pages from the over the line here, and yeah, no, I want this book now. Oh, it looks like digital copies are still available, so there is a way for me to read it. Excellent.
I think you can still buy it as a digital one.
Yeah, paperback sold out, digital only. Okay.
But yeah, there's loads of, when we were thinking about that, we were trying to think about what do poetry and comics have in common, and definitely those ideas of like economy of line is a big one.
Well, and like we have a Jack Kirby book club. We've been going through Fourth World, and one of the things that we've been noticing is that sometimes there's a jazz to the way Kirby works, where it's the unexpectedness, it's the motion rather than the words, and like the fluidity. Because again, it's just a medium that you can do so many things, and like poetry. Oh, you got an Alan Moore quote for it. Wow. I'm sorry, I just looked up and I went, Alan Moore. You can get a blurb from Alan Moore, you've done something right.
Yeah, that I feel shy and awkward about that, but yeah, that was extremely happy and excited that he liked it. It means a lot. It's like my mum liked it, Alan Moore liked it. Well, that's it. I can die. And
I mean, let's be honest. If Alan Moore had liked it and your mom had not hated it, that probably would have been okay, right? Or if your mom had gone, comics, don't read comics.
Oh gosh. Yeah. It's funny. It is.
Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
It blew my train of thought for a second. But what I was saying is both poetry and comics, rhythm matters. It's pacing. I mean, it's not that pacing doesn't matter in prose and film, but it's a completely different way that pacing matters. Pacing matters in prose and film in that you don't want to allow people to get bored. You want to keep them going forward. In poetry and comics, again, it's not just pacing, it's rhythm. It's sometimes, we want you to go through these 5 pages as fast as possible, and then we want you to stop and stare at this one. Then we want you to flip back 3 pages because you realize that you missed something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics that he has
Yes.
6 different, you've got like moment to moment, scene to scene, the different types of panel transition. For me, poetry comics sits in number 6. That kind of can be completely abstract,
Yep.
non sequitur, except in poetry, the non sequitur is connected to the previous thought because our brains connect everything. And for me, that's, and again, there are so many different ways of doing poetry comics, but I think the way that I kind of gravitate towards is that idea of how do we link more unusual things together and try and rewire our brains somehow.
All right. Before Lauren hits her drop dead, the dogs are going nuts time. I should ask my absolute favorite required closing question. Tell me something you love, preferably a comic, but we don't really have rules. Preferably storytelling, but again with the rules. But something that you love, but that not enough other people have experienced, and you need them to because you want more people to talk about it with.
Oof. You go first, Chrissy.
Oh man. The thing that immediately came to my mind actually was a poem. I'm
down with that.
Okay, there's a poet called Kai Miller who is Jamaican. I believe he's living in Jamaica again now, but he lived in the UK for ages and first started publishing his poetry and his novels over here. And in his first book of poetry, A Light Song of Light, there's this poem called, oh my God, I'm going to have to Google it while Lauren's telling you her, so I can't remember the title.
I don't have anything yet. Keep talking.
It's called A Song of Light. It's called A Song of Light. And the whole poem is the whole poem is taking the word song in interpreting it in different ways. And so it's one big prose poem paragraph with kind of extra spaces between all the phrases. But it kind of goes on like, a song is this, a song is that, a song is this, a song is that. But encapsulated in this one poem, he manages to do so much work with language, with history, with emotion, with love. I remember the first time I read it, I just kind of fell in love with him immediately on the spot. It's just an amazing poem. And I feel like it's a sort of poem that everyone should have to read. I'm going to see if I can find it now while Lauren says, but
mine is not as deep.
No. I've done the poetry. Okay. Wanky.
Mine isn't even comic related. It's a movie called Teeth. It's about a girl who has vagina dentata. It's a horror movie. It's a comedy horror movie. It's hilarious. I love it so much. And the actress has got such great, she's so expressive in her face. It's brilliant. You should see it. It was between that and Ginger Snaps, so I don't know. So I'm a big horror movie person.
You're a big horror movie person?
Well, horror comedy movies, yeah.
Horror comedy I can handle a little bit better than straight horror, so,
yeah,
so I might try it just for you.
But Teeth isn't scary. It's just kind of that's ridiculous.
Okay. That works for me.
And if you hate that, I don't want to know.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's highly unlikely that I would hate it. What it comes down to is it something that I can't get through for reasons that only have to do with me, not the movie. Like my son's a big horror guy. That's actually how I discovered that I can do horror comics, because like he kept trying to get me to watch horror movies or read horror books, and I just couldn't do it. I even tried, and I just couldn't do it. So I finally, I was working at a comic shop at the time, and people kept recommending various, I think Scott or not Joshua Williamson's Nail Biter kept getting recommended. And I'm like, okay, this sounds like something he'd like. Let me see if I can handle it. And I wound up laughing rather than being totally disgusted. Um, and that was about the time that I realized that, like, Shaun of the Dead works. Dawn of the Dead, keep it away from me. But Shaun of the Dead, that one works. um, so yeah.
You could always
Well,
have your son test watch Teeth and then come
yeah,
back
but see,
if he can
even
handle
now,
it.
he insists that he thinks I could handle more. He hasn't
He
seen me
must just
throw
love
up
your
enough times or
reactions.
something. Yeah, something like that. Um, so, but if I try to watch it and don't like it, I'll know that I should recommend it to him because he will like it. Um, so Lauren, Chrissy, it has been so much fun. I love your book. Hopefully you'll both come back sometime, either for the next volume or when we can get really spoilery because the paperback's coming out, something like that. Or when we just want to talk cats.
Yeah.
As I'm looking at your adorable, somehow well-behaved sleeping cats. When a cat
Yeah.
comes into the room, it's to cause trouble.
You should have seen them 5 minutes before the call started, right in my face.
Yeah, exactly. I had to literally lock my cat in another room while I was getting show notes ready for our weekly episode earlier this week because he just insisted on being on top of my hands on top of the keyboard. I'm like, Eddie, this really doesn't work as well as you think it does. So it has been a pleasure. And for Lauren Knight and Chrissy Williams, this has been 22 Panels, and we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.